back to the wrestling bubble. This video is going to be about NXT. And first up, we have Javon Evans versus Sean Legacy and Ashanti the Adonis in a triple threat match.
I actually like this match. Sean Legacy does not need to be involved. He needs to be in NXT. That dude is phenomenal. He put on a great show. We need to see more of Sean Legacy. We start off the match with Ricky Stark joining commentary to see who's going to be his opponent for NXT Battleground coming up this Sunday at 8 p.m. And honestly, even with Ashanti in the match, even though half the time they didn't even notice him, it was a really great match. To me, it was the match of the night by far. You have, Adonis being the most heel that he can be, throwing his jacket at Siobhan Evans because, they have a little heated conversation last week saying who is pretty much letting Javon Evans know that he shouldn't be fighting people in the indies. But of course, Javon Evans feel like Sean Legacy and him can go toe on toe. No offense to Javon Evans, but he ain't got nothing on Sean Legacy. This guy, his last name says it all. He is really a legacy.
All I got to say is we need the one-on-one match between Sean Legacy and Javon Evans.
Be a great match. Unfortunately, if that happens, Sean Legacy might lose. But that dude has potential in WWE. If whenever he goes to the main roster, hopefully Triple H book him right. I can see him going by far. So far, I just want to hear him on the mic. Just watching his little promo on X, you could tell he's very comfortable talking. And in the ring, very smooth. He had a little old style. I like it. It wasn't too many flips. He felt really good. And I would like this. Good thing he did win the match due to a interference because you have Ethan Page, because Ethan Page and Ricky Stark can't stand each other. But no offense to Ricky Stark, I really will hope he will lose the belt this Sunday because I'm already tired of his title ring. I don't know because he's this whole baby face thing going on, but Ricky Stark's really been boring to me.
All right, so we'll move on past that. The winner, of course, being Sean Legacy via pinfall. Next up, we had a Jordan Grace promo. What'd you think about her promo?
I feel it was a good promo to reintroduce herself. It explained that she has accomplished a lot before coming to NXT. Unfortunately, to me, her coming to NXT was kind of a bad timing because you had Stephanie Vaquer, who was like well known no matter where she goes. The crowd loves her. The crowd's behind her, even in the main roster. She even hit the main roster yet. But I know down the road they are planning to make Jordan Grace be the face of NXT because soon Stephanie Vaquer time in NXT is pretty much up. She's supposed to be going to Raw really soon. So I know they're trying to make Jordan Grace be the next in line, but she got to get that audience behind her. I feel like Jordan Grace will be the one to get Stephanie run for her money. She got power, she got speed. I mean, she can also do a little lucha herself.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna just kind of zip past that. Jordan is the future in NXT. Stephanie needs to be on the main roster like yesterday. There's a few people in NXT that needs to just get called up already. There's like no point of Obafemi still being on NXT, Trick
Jada
Williams being on
Parker.
NXT. Jada Parker, I would say she needs a title run at least on
Yeah.
NXT before she moves up. She needs some time in the spotlight to see like what she can do in different situations and whatnot. We already know she's good on the mic. She probably needs a little bit more work in the ring just to be a little bit more fluid. But yeah, next up we had Trick Williams' rap performance. Trick came out rapping about Average Joe. At first, it didn't seem like the crowd was that into it, but by the end of his song, he had everybody chanting Average Joe. It was decent. Safe for TV for sure. What'd you think about Trick Williams' performance?
I like that it was short and straight to the point. Cause normally I don't like segment like this when it's more entertainment, like singing and stuff. But I like that he pretty much was rapping but cutting a promo at the same time. How I look at it, calling Joe he's average. I like Joe Hendry. He has a great gimmick, but I do get to see what Trick is talking about. How you're just plain Jane. You're not really doing anything. The
Like a
whole
flash in the pan.
yeah. But I like Trick Williams. He's really showing he's Hollywood Trick.
Yeah, I could use just a little bit more attitude though, like to be a little bit more convincing.
I feel like he will show more attitude in the main roster to me. Because I'm pretty sure he's going to take this little new character he got to the main roster. Because the talk is, and hopefully it happens, is Trick going to be back with Carmelo. Because just to get a little off topic, we did see Carmelo last week getting a little frustrated with the Miz. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they would probably do that because honestly, Triple H seems like he has no new ideas.
No.
So they'll probably go back to what worked between Carmelo and Trick Williams and then ultimately break them up, have a feud on the main roster again.
God, I hope not.
But yeah, Hollywood Trick on the main roster, I really don't like whatever Shawn Michaels has done in NXT doesn't usually translate to the main roster just because it seems like Shawn Michaels and Triple H have different views or visions for the NXT superstars when they go up to the main roster.
I
Like,
believe, yeah, like Santos Escobar, he had a really good group. Once he got rid of those two little peewees and then brought in Angel, the cousins. I like it with Letra Lopez. That was a really strong group. But then it's like they come to the main roster and they look like a bunch of average.
they
Like
never
don't
let
even,
Elektra Lopez talk.
yeah, never let her talk really. Uh, it's like someone else who came, like a few people who come to the main roster never really get the push that they deserve. So, like for example, let's see what he's gonna do with Julia, because Julia had a decent run in NXT. Now she's in the main roster with SmackDown, so we'll see how that goes.
I think Julie is just going to be another person on the roster, to be honest.
Yeah, I won't be surprised.
She's not Io Sky.
Nope.
She's not Kai. What's her name? Oscar. She. I think she'll be just like a step above Kairi Sane.
Yeah, Kairi Sane's another
And we
one.
see how she's booked. She's basically a jobber.
Taking L's.
So moving on, we get a shot of the locker room with Joe Hendry, basically saying, "Okay, Trick, that's how you want to do it. The gloves are coming off." He's strumming his guitar, getting ready for his performance later on. Then we have a backstage interview segment with Kelly Kincaid interviewing Josh Briggs. I kind of want to skip this. Josh basically misses his tag team partner that went back to Japan.
That was the best movie. I wish he didn't go back to Japan, honestly. I wish he would have stayed in NXT and then break him up, because his tag team partner was way more interesting than Josh Briggs.
Josh Briggs should have went back to New Japan. His partner should have stayed.
Josh Briggs should have been part of the release.
Inamura, Yoshiki Inamura, that was his tag team partner. He was actually pretty interesting. I feel like he had a lot of potential for WWE style.
Of course. He had charisma and everything.
Yeah, the next match we have Shawn Spears with the Culling versus Josh Briggs. Spoiler, Shawn Spears won. The Culling interfered. It is what it is.
No one cares about Josh Briggs.
So next up we had Zaria and Sol Ruka talking to Kelani Jordan in the women's locker room. Basically, Kelani Jordan said, I'll see you at Battleground, so she could take on Sol Ruka. But first she had to get through Zaria. Zaria's like, it's not going to happen. Fast forward, we get to the match later on where we'll talk about that. Next up,
we have the returning of OTM versus Kyle Dixon and Yura Connor. So these guys with Andre Chase. So basically, they're going to be a build-up, just like they did with Hank and Tank for the new Chase U University. I feel like Chase U is actually going to have a better run this time. Not that they have fresh new faces. Unfortunately, Chase U came up short. OTM got the pinfall. Now, I don't know if they're actually going to make OTM win the belt this time from Hank and Tank, because it's always same old, same old.
I don't think they should. They jobbed
OTM?
out way too much.
OTM, yeah, even though they revamped them, I'm sorry.
OTM.
Yeah, OTM, even though they repackaged them because they're no longer with Jada Parker in a way. I don't know if they're ever going to. I don't know if they should ever get the belt.
They're not convincing. Like they do cut decent promos, but in the ring, they ruined them like for too long in the ring. These big dudes lost to like everybody.
Everybody. And then they came up
this
short
was like
pricing.
it resembled AEW booking of big guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you got these big enormous dudes, buff, like they look like they should be throwing around everybody, and they're losing to everybody. So like now all of a sudden they come back. All right, they learned a lesson. They're refocused, etc. So now they're beating jobbers essentially. And the only thing I liked about this match was their finisher.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like an assisted spine buster, and it looked like very impactful. Like it's a decent finisher. They could pretty much hit that on anybody. So I like that. I'd like to see OTM get a push and be taken seriously and be presented serious, like consistently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially the tag team division is not. It's like right now it's considered the worst right now. Because there's not enough people being pushed. Like, look at SmackDown. SmackDown pretty much has all the tag teams. Raw has who? Nobody, really.
Just War Raiders and New Day. Really.
Pretty much. Oh, yeah, and then the Creed brothers. But
they're usually just in the background to anything Chad Gable's doing. So
yeah.
Yeah, so next up we got
Obafemi
and Miles Bourne in ring, face to face. Basically Obafemi, he says, he kind of said a little bit of what he said the week before, where he's talking about, he never had Miles Bourne picked to win the Battle Royal, and he's like, he admires that he's standing up for people with disabilities, etc. But unfortunately, you're going up against the ruler, the conqueror of NXT, blah blah blah. He's going to have to ruin his day at Battleground, basically. Miles Bourne says, he's used to people doubting him, and he's used to, being against the, having his back against the wall and overcoming whatever's thrown at him, etc. Honestly, Miles Bourne cut a really good promo. Obafemi did too. But Obafemi needs to go to the main roster like yesterday.
Speaking of the main roster, I can see it happening now that during that segment they have one of the LFGs who won, Gasper Troy, attacking Obafemi. So when I saw a little bit of him at LFG, I already saw that they was going to make him next in line to be the NXT face. So why not go for the big guy, Obafemi? Because I would love to see Obafemi in the main roster, Raw, not SmackDown. But I already have a feeling Triple H is not going to book him like Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was dominant NXT, and now he's with Seth Rollins.
Well, I hope. Well, if we're talking current Braun Breaker, I hope he doesn't book him like Braun Breaker, because he's just background to Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
and Seth Rollins is just a mid carder at best. Okay, Braun Breaker has the potential to be a main eventer, to go further than Seth Rollins.
Of course.
With Triple H's booking, you get what you got.
Yeah, because it's like he's afraid to pull the trigger. Like
now Obafemi should be the next thing to like a Brock Lesnar type,
but better.
Okay, like he should be what Bobby Lashley should have been. Bobby Lashley should have been Black Brock Lesnar, if we're being honest here. So Obafemi cuts a great promo, something Bobby Lashley couldn't do. He looks the part. Okay, he tosses people around. Like he usually has a great match. So I mean, he's more than ready to go to the main roster. It's just a matter of, will Triple H actually do right by him? We'll just have to wait and see. And also at Battleground, if Miles Bourne was to win, which I would like, because who else is going to put him over in a big way than him beating Obafemi?
Yeah.
And to make sense of this guy coming up from LFG, for him to jump Obafemi after the match, right? Or after the in-ring face-off, he needs to cause Obafemi to lose somehow at Battleground.
Yeah.
That way you don't really hurt Obafemi, but then you get this little, interaction with Obafemi and the guy from LFG. I keep forgetting his name.
Gasper Troy.
Yeah, Gasper Troy. I really wish he would change that, because that name is not good. But Yeah, like you have them have like a little feud basically to bring up that guy from LFG to NXT and also send Obafemi to the main roster when that feud is done. And that's how you get that. And you get Miles Bourne, aka Baby Randy, to lead NXT from that point on. And probably have Charlie Dempsey in a feud with him just because he's jealous.
Of course, most definitely. But then after that nice promo, we have Ava. Just a quick little thing. Ava's pretty much pissed off with Ricky Stark and Ethan Page. I honestly didn't like this segment.
I honestly thought this was Ava's best segment so far.
Well, yeah, what I
There was a
don't
lot of hostility between Ava, Ricky Star or Ricky Saints, and Ethan Page. And I thought Ava basically took the reins and she like although these guys were like yelling at each other or whatever, Ava ended up being like the dominant person in the room. And she's like, listen, this is how it's gonna be. You guys will have a match, blah, 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 battleground, whatever. Now get out of my
But
office.
that's the thing. I thought Sean Legacy is supposed to fight in Battleground this Saturday.
True.
And then she already made it official that Ricky Saint and Ethan Page is going to fight each other next Wednesday.
Yeah, so
that's why I didn't like this segment.
I'm pretty sure Ethan Page wants the North American title. So it's like a spoiler. It pretty much lets you know that Sean Legacy's gonna lose.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
So
that's the only thing
I don't like is foreshadowing.
Yeah,
I felt like the acting in this segment was good.
Yeah,
and that's the superstars doing that, right? But the booking itself of the segment before Battleground, not so good because of what they said.
Yeah, because she could have just said whoever wins Sunday will face Ethan Page on Wednesday. But I don't know. They should have just fought that night, to be honest. But moving on, another great segment, as usual, always on point, looking like a movie. Tony D'Angelo cut a promo. Long story short, how him and Stats is pretty much gonna go one-on-one on NXT Battleground this Sunday. I like the promo. Obviously, this is probably going to be Tony D'Angelo's last run at NXT because he's supposed to be moving up to the main roster, probably SmackDown. We don't know if he's going to have his family with him or he's just going to go solo. It does suck when someone who's so close to you ends up betraying you and everything after everything you've done for them. But I feel like this is going to be a great match. This will show how Stats will look like as a single wrestler and how Tony D'Angelo will look like as pretty much a single wrestler himself because most of his matches he always had his family. So we'll see how that's going to go. But I love it.
Yeah, Tony D said a lot in this promo. But one of the things that he said that stuck out to me, he was like, he told Stacks, you don't get it. See, basically you're selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's easy. That's why you'll never get to sit at the big chair. You got guts, but you got no brains. You're hot-headed. You made your bed. And at Battleground, you're going to lay in it. Because on Sunday, there is no betrayal. There is no bailout. It's just me breaking your face.
And it would be crazy if the family actually betrayed Tony, though.
Yeah. But we'll have to wait and see. Because, well, honestly, if they do that, that's like a get out of jail free card for Triple H when Tony D ends up going to the main roster, whenever that is. Because, man, he's been on NXT since 2.0.
Same with Wesley.
And they already sent like Grayson Waller, Carmelo Hayes, and all of them. And we see what happened. Grayson Waller's basically a jobber. He's been in that nothing tag team breakup tease thing for the longest with Austin Theory. Now, if Tony D goes to the main roster and they're going to break up the family, what's he going to do? What's his character going to be?
I think that's what most people, like, look at Roxanne Perez. She been featured in the main roster SmackDown Raw for a while, right? And it took them almost like half a year to finally like sign her to Raw. And I feel like some of these NXT stars, which I don't blame, look at Kiana James, for example, they're afraid if they move up, Triple H is not going to book them right. And it's like, we had like almost over 100 superstars on WWE, and some of them we get seeing the same face. Like, I love Rhea Ripley. I'm tired of seeing her. Like
Yeah.
we have Rhea Ripley, we see the same old Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. Uh, well, of course, we had to see Io Sky because she's a champion. You know, we don't get to see a lot of fresh faces, and then it's like we also don't get to see a lot of fresh faces actually getting the push that they deserve. Because how you release these people, but you don't give them a chance to show us what they can do in front of the crowd. Karrion Cross, for example, I'm actually really interested in Karrion Cross to see what he's supposed to be doing. But of course, we haven't seen him on TV for about 3 weeks now, and to me, he was very interesting, like interfere with Sami Zayn. Why are we seeing Sami Zayn? Sami Zayn to me is boring. Okay, now he's in this nothing feud with Seth Rollins, still boring. No matter how many times Seth Rollins changed his gimmick, he's still boring. And then you have Braun Breaker because they don't know what to do with him, so they threw him with Seth Rollins. Now he's good. He's becoming boring and looking stupid. Like he's just the enforcer in a way. It's like you said before. It's like Seth Rollins' group is like the Bloodline. So it's like we do have a few stars coming back, but it's like what you're gonna do with them. I don't blame them for taking their time trying to move it because what I like about Shawn Michaels' book, he actually gives stars chance so the crowd can see fresh faces. Miles Bourne is a perfect example. Lola Vice, which we're about to talk about soon, she's starting to get a little here and there TV after her little confrontation with Mickey James. You know, so Ruka finally got a title shot. People was going crazy about it because you didn't see that coming. You know, we have a teaser, possibly Zaria. Jordan Grace is getting the push she deserved. Jada Parker has got the push, you know. In NXT, a lot of these superstars actually get chances instead of seeing the same face. It's always refreshing.
Yeah, so next up we had Lola Vice versus Fallon Henley. Just to save time and the fact that nothing really happened in this match, Lola Vice won. Lola Vice looked good and strong in this match. She did a lot of kicks, a lot of back fists. These hips don't lie. Lola Vice, the winner.
It's just a teaser for Fallon Henley and JC Jane to break up.
Next up, we had a sit down with Kelly Kincaid interviewing Stephanie Vicker. Uh, Stephanie basically says,
Ain't nobody taking this belt off of her. Not even Jordan Grace.
in a nutshell,
Unless she's giving it up.
and she's proven it around the world. She's been international champion everywhere, you know. So she's basically in WWE to fight the best and prove why she's la primera.
Exactly. And then we had a little quick segment of reintroducing Dark State. Honestly, I don't care for the group. Uh, I don't know why. I feel like only two of them, the guy with the most charisma, I care about.
Saquon Sugars or something like
Yeah,
that.
the one with the low cut white dude, he can go. Like hearing him cut a promo, he don't even sound convincing.
Yeah, basically all of them sound fake. Even
Yeah,
Sugars, but I mean, he does have more charisma or whatever. But like, they all just sound so fake.
this
It
just
sounds so forced.
yeah. I'm not feeling that group at all.
So moving on past that snooze fest, we got the. I think this was the final match, right?
I believe so. Azaria with
Zarya,
Soruka versus
yep.
Kalani Jordan. Long story short, Kalani Jordan won because of interference because Kalani pretty much attacked Soruka to throw Azaria. Then Soruka trying to get on top of the apron to have a little heated conversation with Kalani Jordan. And of course, Kalani Jordan ducked as Zaria was trying to hit her with like a spear or a clothesline, hit Soruka, got distracted because she was feared that she hurt her own partner, and then Kalani with the pin as a 1, 2, 3. So now we're gonna see Kalani Jordan versus Soruka. Now, Kalani, if she wins, she'll be the first woman to be two-time NXT North American champion. But I don't see that happening because Soruka has put in a lot of work. She actually have improved since the last time she fought Kalani Jordan. And Kalani to me hasn't really improved nothing but try to have a different attitude. Not convincing.
In short, uh, Kalani Jordan's soul will be snatched at Battleground,
Of course.
and I believe that was it for NXT, right?
Pretty much. I mean nothing. I feel like NXT did a good go away show for NXT Battleground. I already know a few matches I'm looking forward to. Of course, the women's match,
Hold on, let's just real quick. The match card for
NXT
Battleground.
Battleground. So, like I was saying, some of the matches I'm looking forward to. Of course, we have Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace. I like that match. But going down the line, you're going to have Soruka, the champion, versus Kelani Jordan for the Women's NXT North American Championship. They just threw in another match with Hank and Tank, Josh Briggs versus The Calling in a 6-man tag match. Then you have Tony D'Angelo versus Stats. Then you have Obafemi versus Mileborn for the WWE NXT Championship. Then you have Joe Hendry champion versus Trick Williams for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
And that'll conclude the match card for NXT Battleground. All right, well, that concludes the NXT review. Let us know what you thought. Did you like NXT? Who has the best rivalry right now? What's the best storyline? What matches are you looking forward to at NXT Battleground? Let us know below in the comment section. Hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you like the content. We got more coming for you. That'll do it for the Wrestling Bubble. See you in the next video.